Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. I am wearing my spiffy new shotgunning vest because this is a shotgun. To be precise, it is a 9mm Flobert shotgun of a type widely known as a garden gun. And this is my garden. I think we all know where this is going. So yeah, it'll hit a pop can at 10 yards. Let's see how it patterns on the cardboard at 10 yards. Still working the bugs out. Let's go have a look at that pattern. So, looking at the can, I think it's safe to say no can would be safe from this at 10 yards. Having a look at the pattern, that at 10 yards is definitely likely to take out a mouse or starling, which is what this gun is designed to do and about the range it's designed to do it at. So let's go inside and talk about this in more detail. So this is a 9mm Flobert shotgun. 9mm Flobert is a rimfire cartridge. And this is technically known as 9mm Flobert long shot because it's longer than a standard 9mm Flobert cartridge. We'll get a closer look at those in the tabletop. This was made by MAS in France, and MAS stands for "We will laugh at you if you try to pronounce it the actual words because we're French." So I'm not going to. It's just MAS. Good enough. It is a single shot bolt action. It has an extractor. It's interesting. It has an extractor that is built into the bed of the rifle rather than attached to the bolt. And it's very simple. You stick a cartridge in, close the handle, and pull the trigger. I have not been able to find any safety whatsoever on this. I guess the French just figure if you don't want to shoot, don't pull the trigger. You can lower the striker assembly by simply pressing the trigger while you close the bolt, but I do not advise doing that on a rimfire cartridge. It's not likely to go off, but if you bang this at all, it will. Don't do that. This is an interesting shotgun, and it's in very good condition. How I got this was interesting because a viewer, Ben, offered to send it to me for the cost of shipping when he got a new 9mm Flobert shotgun. Thank you very much, Ben. Very much appreciate it. This is a cool gun, and I really like it. I've wanted a 9mm Flobert shotgun for a very long time, but could never justify the expense of it. And now, recently, the price of ammo has gone from $35 for a box of 50 to about $50 for a box of 50. So it's about $1 a shot if you shop around. It's a little on the expensive side, which is a shame because this is a great deal of fun to shoot. Before we get any further into the weeds, I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon. It's very much a shoestring operation, and your contributions help more than you know. I'd also like to thank channel benefactors, like Ben, who have contributed to the channel in innumerable ways and really helped make this work. Now, one thing I will mention is that I have a Curio and Relics FFL, so Ben was able to mail this directly to me. But normally, under federal law, this is a firearm and has to be passed through an FFL or to a C&R holder. And it's interesting because it is certainly not a powerful, arguably not even a lethal weapon. Now, these are called garden guns because they're for shooting garden pests primarily. And you can do some very close range small game hunting with them. But the cartridge fires a 1/4 ounce of shot at about 600 feet per second. So it is not a powerhouse, as we will see when I fire it into gel. That's interesting. These are actually, it would take 1,000,000 to 1 fluke accident to actually injure someone with one of these at beyond about 20 yards, because of course they lose energy very, very quickly. The shot sizes normally used are anywhere from 7 to 10. Mostly I see 7 to 8. This one is 7.5, splitting the difference. And basically they're literally for shooting mice, rats, and nuisance birds like starlings in your garden at ranges of 5 to 20 yards. And you can, as I say, hunt small game. A friend of mine, Chris, has shot grouse with them, but at very close range. And it's a very basic firearm, but it's very cool, and these are very, very popular in Europe because a lot of people have gardens, and these in many European countries were not regulated as heavily as more powerful firearms. These are, in a lot of European countries, these could be purchased with little or no formality, or even the most basic of certifications. And consequently, they're very popular. Now, I understand under the EU, some of these countries are changing those laws. And a few years ago, a bunch of these were showing up on the market, but now they're comparatively rare. You can still buy a brand new 9mm Flobert shotgun, which I see on Gunbroker for a very modest price. It's the Chiappa Little Badger, which is also available in other calibers. But this is very typical of simple garden guns that were sold in Europe rather inexpensively. And it's a very cool thing. Let's have a look at my attempts to shoot it into gel. And again, a 1/4 ounce of shot at 660 feet per second. We're not expecting miracles here. Well, nothing bounced back. Let's go see what we did in the way of penetration. Okay, with a judicious application of heat, we can see that the number 7.5 shot penetrated anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 3/4 inches or so. That would be distinctly unpleasant. But if it didn't hit you in the eye or something, it probably wouldn't do serious damage. Doesn't mean you'd want to get hit by it, but there you have it. So, not at all an impressive result. And you can see why these are not considered to be a particularly lethal weapon. So, you could, theoretically, with a near contact distance shot to a very specific location, maybe kill someone with it. But honestly, it weighs 4.5 pounds. You'd be better off hitting them with it like a club. It would certainly be more certain and more effective. Let's go to the tabletop and dig into some of those weeds we talked about. So I mentioned the Flobert cartridges, and these were patented in 1845 and were the first commercially successful self-contained metallic cartridges and the first rimfire cartridges. Now, they come in a variety of sizes. This is a 4mm Flobert, and it's basically just a percussion cap with a rim and a tiny, tiny ball in it. And these were used for indoor target shooting, training weapons, things of that nature. But as you can see, it is absolutely tiny, tiny. This is a typical 9mm Flobert shotgun shell, and there's no shot cup. There's just a wad in here with a 1/4 ounce of shot over the top of it. And it is sort of a necked cartridge because it does expand here. And as I say, they're basically 7.5 shot. They're basically for shooting pests in the garden or other similar light sporting activities. Now, some have a paper sleeve extending from the brass, but all the ones currently for sale in the US, at least that I know of, are this style. And the reason it has this rebated section here is because this is a ball round. And you can see it's the same length as the rebated section. So I'm not absolutely certain why they did that. Possibly so that the ball rounds wouldn't have to jump a gap in the chamber, because these are so low powered, you really haven't got the power to spare. And the ball and ammo, unfortunately, in the United States at this time is unobtainium. I don't know of anyone importing it or selling it in any quantity. And these make, now this uses 105 grains of shot. This uses a 63 grain round ball. And this shoot out at about 780 feet per second. And these shoot out at about 600. And either one of them makes about 85 foot-pounds of energy. So this is something of a more useful proposition for small game hunting. Although, since almost all the guns are smoothbores, of the garden gun variety at least, accuracy beyond about 20 yards is just not going to be adequate. Now, there are rifled 9mm Flobert guns, and I'll be doing a little refurbishing on the stock for one for a friend soon. But most of what we see, and things like the Chiappa Little Badger, are smoothbores, and there is no choke at all. I suspect if you choke to the end of the barrel significantly, a shot round might not make it out the bore. It is that low powered. Now, as I say, these are simple guns, and as you can see here, watch the front of the chamber, you can see this is the extractor. It's not mounted on the bolt, hard to do this on camera, and it just pulls the cartridge just far enough back for you to easily remove it with your fingers. It's a cock-on-closed system. You can see the striker is held back, and you can, as I said, uncock it by simply holding the trigger down as you close the bolt. And then it's closed up and uncocked. Now, to remove the bolt for cleaning, which you'll need to do, this is non-corrosive ammo, but it is not particularly clean either. You simply pull the trigger and pull the bolt out to the rear. And as you can see, this is a very simple assembly with the striker on the back and this bolt handle, which incorporates the locking lug, which doesn't need to be much because there's not a lot of pressure, is brazed in place. Now, I don't know if the way it's brazed, if this is a repair or the way it was from the factory. This gun has had some slight modifications over the years. And here is the bolt head with, you can see, the protruding firing pin. Reassembly, of course, is the same thing. Put the bolt in, pull the trigger, push the bolt closed, and then pull the trigger again in case you haven't quite got it. If you're me, as you can see, there is the locking lug engaging in the bolt here at the back. And this is a method used in even significantly more powerful shotguns for some bolt-action shotguns. So there's certainly no concerns about using it on this. And it's very basic. Now, the stock has been shortened. And from the file marks and things on the edge of the butt pad, not terribly well. Which brings me to the only markings on this gun, which are a serial number and this rondelle on the butt of the gun, identifying it. It's a pretty nice piece of wood. It's not terribly distinguished, but it's decent. And it's a neat little gun and handles well. I'm probably going to extend the stock because it's very short and I'm very tall. But wanted one for a long time, and thanks to Ben, I now have one, and I am quite happy. Now, one of the things about this that makes it suitable as a garden gun is that, as you probably noticed, it's quite quiet. It's about 120 decibels, which for occasional outdoor shooting, I'm really not concerned about that damaging my hearing. and to concerts where it was louder than that by a very large margin. And they're just a lot of fun. I wish the ammo was cheaper, but it is a neat thing. And I'm very happy to have it. Thanks again, Ben. This, now what am I going to do with this? Well, I might shoot pests in my garden if occasion arises. Still needs a little tweaking on that. The striker sticks just a hair sometimes. But it's a nice gun, and my future plans are extending the stock, or since I've got a very nice piece of walnut at the moment, maybe I'll make a new stock for it. Probably not a full-length Mannlicher style, as I love so much. This is a 24-inch barrel, and I'm pretty sure my plank of timber is not long enough to make a full-length stock. But I'm going back and forth. Do I fix the original stock or do I make a new one completely? It is quite a simple stock and would not particularly strain my capabilities to replace it. But anyway, I've wanted one for years, never badly enough to spend what they cost, especially with ammo being so hard to find and now getting quite expensive. But I'm very pleased to have it, and it will feature in many a plinking session in the future when we go out to places like the Capitol Forest. And as I say, it may do duty in my garden. It would certainly be more suitable to that purpose than any other firearm I own. And it has the advantage that at 20 to 25 yards, through thick clothing, it's not even going to hurt that much, let alone cause serious damage. Of course, it's still a firearm, it's still dangerous, and at close range, it's still capable of inflicting a nasty wound. So you need to treat it with all the respect you would give any firearm. But it's kind of nice to know that I'm not sending a bullet out that if it ricochets wrong could damage someone a quarter mile away. There's something to be said for that. Anyway, happy to have it. It's fun to shoot. I really love it. And you may see this gun again, especially if I decide to replace the stock. So, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you again real soon.